You want to get better at English without feeling bored? Stories are the way to go. You just sit back, listen, and let the language sink in without even realizing it. They're fun, real, and full of the kind of English people actually use. If that sounds good to you, make sure to like the video, hit subscribe, and join us here every single day. Tonight's story? It's about one guy, one huge city, and one small mistake. In Times Square at midnight. The city didn't sleep, and neither did he. He had arrived in New York that morning, tired but buzzing. The city already felt like it was moving too fast. Yellow taxis everywhere. Steam rising from the streets. Sirens in the distance. Everyone walked like they had somewhere important to be, and fast. But he liked it. He had come here alone, just for a few days. Not for work, not for school, just to explore. He had a list of places to see, and at the top of that list, Times Square at night. He checked into a small hotel in Midtown, dropped his bag, and walked out into the chaos. By the time he reached Times Square, the sky was dark, but the streets were glowing. Screens were everywhere. Huge ones, bright ones, moving images, flashing ads, giant faces of people he didn't know. It was loud. Lights reflected off the wet pavement like melted neon. Music played from speakers. People laughed. Street performers posed. A man dressed as Spider-Man danced beside a woman in glowing sunglasses. He stood in the middle of it all and just stared. It was too much, but in a good way. He pulled out his phone and started taking photos, then videos, then selfies. His face glowed blue and pink from the ads above. He tried to get a shot with everything in the background, the lights, the crowd, the buildings stacked high. He kept walking slowly, letting the energy pull him in. The group tour he had started with was long gone. He hadn't even noticed they were moving away. Maybe they turned a corner. Maybe they crossed the street. Maybe they said something, but the noise swallowed it. Either way, they were gone. At first, he didn't realize it. He kept snapping pictures, watching a man juggle fire, laughing at a robot dancer in silver paint. It was only when he looked up and didn't recognize the people around him that he paused. Wait. He turned around, looked left, looked right. No familiar faces. He walked a little, fast now. Turned a corner, saw a line of food carts. Kept going. Crossed the street. Nothing. And then it hit him. He didn't know where he was. Not really. He had no signal on his phone. Battery low. His feet hurt. The lights were starting to feel too bright. Too loud. Too much. He stood still, trying not to panic. Around him, Times Square kept moving. A blur of motion. People from everywhere. Speaking in every language. Taking photos. Crossing streets. A guy in a cowboy hat and boots playing a guitar in the middle of the road. Taxis honking like it was a sport. And him, stuck in the middle, not sure what to do next. He took a deep breath. It was still midnight. He could figure it out. He just had to slow down. He reached into his pocket and found the folded city map the hotel had given him. Paper, old school, but reliable. He walked to a corner and stood under a bus shelter, using the streetlight to see the lines. Broadway, 7th Avenue, West 42nd. He tried to remember the name of his hotel, the route they had taken, the cross streets. Bits and pieces came back. He started walking not fast, but steady. The lights were still everywhere, but now he was moving with purpose. He passed a group of tourists holding coffee. A woman in a red coat laughed as she ran across the street. A vendor called out, offering pretzels and hot dogs. He turned down a quieter block. Suddenly, the noise dropped a little. Just a little. The street lights still glowed, but there were fewer people. He checked the signs. He was getting closer. A few more turns, and there it was. His hotel. He smiled. Not big, not loud, just a small, tired smile. Inside, the front desk guy waved. He nodded back, heading for the elevator. In his room, he took off his shoes, dropped onto the bed, and laughed quietly to himself. He hadn't meant to wander off. He hadn't planned to get lost in Times Square. But honestly, he kind of loved it. There was something about the chaos, the colors, the weirdness of it all. Something about being alone in a huge place and still finding his way back. He pulled out his notebook and scribbled a line before bed. Wandered off in Times Square at midnight. Got lost. Didn't panic. Found my way back. Felt alive. Did that story hit home for you? Even a small adventure like this can teach you something new. Not just about a city, but about how English works in the real world. You picked up phrases, moods, little grammar pieces, all while just listening. That's the beauty of it. So if this helped, drop a like, hit subscribe, and tell us in the comments. Have you ever gotten lost in a big city? We've got a fresh story coming your way tomorrow. Don't miss it.